G'day you lot, custom 56 Ford truck casting this week. And let's see what we can do to this to make it look mildly different. I think I've got an idea. What if we add some of this stuff to it? That usually works. Well, this all got a little bit carried away. Okay, so the idea here is we're going to fix up the roof here and open up the bonnet. There we go. Take this back off. And I think the idea here is I'll just make a chassis, show some wheels, and that'll be that. Basic rough idea of how to build a chassis and so forth. Well, part of the chassis at least anyway. Okay, you can see I've done all the work, stripped it down, cleaned up all the casting lines and so on. Little bit of a bogey on the roof there, but we'll get round to that. So here we go. Time to cut her up. Off it comes. Right, get the old filler out. This is the easiest thing to do. I've chucked a bit of styrene in the back where the tray was. And we've got that spot on the roof as well. Use another bit of styrene and smush it down. There we go. Okay. We're going to jump around a bit on the build, so as you can see a fair bit's happened. Here's all the plastic wear. Okay, so we've cut the little hood scoop out off this. I'm going to paint it up and blend it in, make it look part of the body. Here we go, all the styrene work. Going to put a back bar on there and still got a work to go on that yet. But you can see there I've got the axle tubes in, little slots there to glue the axle in. That's just a bit of capped off pipe. Bit of stiffening in there. You can see how I've cut it into the chassis, made it work. That was all filmed. I unfortunately lost that, sanded off the bottom. I filed open the glass a bit here, just make sure the engine can fit and so on. Decals to give me direction for the build, usually helps, eh? Right, time to hit the styrene. So these are the actual fenders. I built another set to show you how to do it shortly. But as you can see, we'll just cut it out, score and snap. It's lovely stuff to work with, styrene. If you haven't had a play with it, I strongly suggest you do. And if you do play with it, then I'd love to see what you do with it. Great stuff. It's fairly simple, just cutting the radius out. I tend to cut a series of straight lines and then just sand it into a nice radius. File it into a nice radius, as the case may be. I rock the file rather than follow the radius. Easier way of getting the proper curve. And there we go. Alright, setting up the top of the fender just by measuring the wheel against the styrene. It's just a case of marking it up, cutting it out, joining it on together, which we'll show you how to do that in just a sec. When I'm doing these long cuts here, especially on a thin piece like this, I like to just brace my ruler. There we go. Chassis rails. Right, so I'm using the lines on my mat to help me here. You can see I've cut an angle, and I'm just going to join the flat to it instead of cutting a half an angle and joining it together and all the rest of it. So again, just using the lines on the mat to help line up where I want it. Cut it out. This is just a rough one. You can see I've already built one, so this is just to give you guys an idea. There we go. Again, the old micro mark weld solution. most solvents will do it. Just check it. Here we go, joining it together. So at the moment I'm just joining it together, like literally just joining it together. And now you can see I started tacking these corners, and I like to try and give them a good coating and brush them in together. Just softens them out. Right, a bit more of the old micro mark. So we're going to put some spars to the rail. So I tend to set one rail up with all the spars, so that when I join it into the original chassis off the car, I can put this side on first and then just put the one rail to the other side, and it completes the chassis quite easily. You just line up those key points. Boom. Right, so we'll just cut out another fender piece quickly. Quite lazy on this one, and just snip it out. There we go. Grab the old file and clean it up. Get a sanding stick and just make sure it's all nice and smooth and as pretty as can be. And there we go. And there's our strip we cut out earlier. Let's chuck a bit of CA glue, because we're going to need some CA glue and some weld solution for this one. A little bit more industrial. There we go. I sandwich it between the ruler, get the weld solution, and just weld that flat section together. Use the ruler to push up against it. And there we go. That's stuck on. As you can see, it won't bend that nicely. So we've got a bit of a mission ahead of us. So, as it's plastic, I use a bit of heat, just soften it out. I'm very, very low, and I'm just softening it. You can see there it bends a lot nicer. I bend it in, hold it in place while it's cooling down. Chuck a quick bit of CA, just enough to hold those corners. Quick bit of activator, and boom. Here we go. Cut that bottom off, and it relieves a lot of tension. And just a quick bit of weld in there. Make sure it's all sealed up. There we go. One fender. In order to make this work for axles and so on, you've got to cut the middle out. You'd cut through there. Make it a bit easy to see. I cut that section there out. Join it on. As you can see, this would work for wheel wells or trailers, caravans, whatever. Quite a neat little technique. And yeah, it's because I did everything a bit bigger to show you. Right, axle tubes. This is fairly self-explanatory. I've got one set in, and I'm putting these set in. We disclaimer, I actually ended up moving all this later on because I changed the wheel size. These little wheels just didn't look right. All primed and ready for a fender fitting. Right, so let's get that out of the way and pull this over. Let's put this fender on. Right, grab a bit of styrene just to space it up off the tyres. I just visually check it in with the other side, being a little bit rough here. There we go, got it in place. Push it down, that's keeping it up off the tyres, so it's not going to bind up with the tyres. And yeah, glue it on. So there we go. Just a couple of dabs here and there, just helps lock it in. Got a couple of little scrap bits there, so get them out of the way. And yeah, there we go. Bit of pressure, let the glue do its work. And bingo bango. Quick test roll. Oh, look at that. She rolls. Paper clips for axles and so on. There's the back bar with the little faux lights on it. And my patented bit of pipe for a trailer hitch. That's pretty much the plastic work completed there. So give her a bit of a test fit. Put the glass in. Chuck the interior in, all cut down nicely and made to not fit. Just nice and snug. There we go. I've got to say, this modification's made that body look quite chunky. Quite a fan of how this has turned out. Compliments to the builder. get a full idea of what it's going to look like when it's done. Just chuck the old engine in. I'm quite liking the stance. It's sitting up a little bit higher than it did originally, but that's alright. Great thing about these engines too, if you do happen to look around the engine, you can see all the sort of details under the hood. Helps to sell the whole effect. But there we go. Alright, so these are those faux lights. I just cut a little bit of pipe off, glued it on the back there, as you can see. Tiny bit of pipe. Yeah, but later on I'll just fill them with a bit of chrome and some translucent. Makes a good little brake light. Here we go, decal time. This is always a fun part. So now I've decided what's going where. Here's my colours. I did toy with the idea of some light weathering, but I think when I build the trailer we'll revisit this. So there it is with the paint on. As you can see, the interior is painted and the base is painted. I used a combination of lead belcher and gunmetal grey for the back. You wouldn't know, but yeah, there's actually two different metallic greys there. So I'm going to go with this little Punisher star here. It's meant to be for a Jeep, but a bit of poetic license. Here we go. Cut them out. I wish I could get more of these sheets of decals. They're quite nice. Nice and thin. Some of them are. All these are separate, which is, as you'll see a bit later on, bit of fun putting on. But yeah, nothing really special going on here. I think everyone knows how to put a decal on. I don't do it remarkably different to anyone else. Still, fills in a few minutes on the video. Gives you guys something to laugh at. So here we go. Bit of the old microsole. I brush it on. And we weed her decal. Make sure that microsole's on there just right. And out she comes. Boom, in place. Manipulate it around. Squeegee all the stuff out from underneath using a cotton bud. I just roll it over it. That's personally what I do. There we go. Bit of microsole over the top. And she is done. Nice flat surface, so she'll stick down nicely. Obviously it's been gloss cleared before this point. Here's the little bombs going on the bonnet. I think we're almost ready for a reveal in a sec, so I'll let you watch me struggle to put these on. And see you at the reveal side. Enjoy, guys. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for joining me on this build, and I hope to see you next time where we do something a little bit more simplistic.